So to get the evening started, we would like to introduce a duo of very talented student researchers from our Spiegel Research Center. So Nick Sotolongo and Kaylin Yan. Their team of 5 analyzed content marketing and sales data for a professional services firm, focusing on optimizing content strategies based on positive business outcomes. This presentation is going to share their key findings and takeaways on how to bridge the gap between engagement and sales. Please welcome Nick and Caitlin.
Can everyone hear me? Great.
Hello.
So I'm Nick.
Caitlin.
And we're part of the Spiegel Research Center, which, even though there's 2 of us up here, it's much bigger. We're part of a fellows team. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Batteries. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. So we were part of a team of 5 fellows. Unfortunately, 3 of the fellows are in San Francisco. Great for them, not so great for us tonight. And also want to recognize the leadership of Spiegel, which is Tom Collinger, Ed Malthouse, and also we had Waylon Wong helping us out. There was another student team as well that hopefully you got to talk to before you came in. They did some really great work. Our project is focused on content marketing. That's why we're talking tonight. And our client was a professional services firm focused on content marketing. And what we're going to talk about is really about, does content engagement drive positive business outcomes, right? So I think tonight we're going to hear a lot of amazing things about content and hopefully see some great examples. But we're going to start off thinking about the bottom line, right? Does it have an effect on sales? Just to give a little context about B2B content marketing, because our client was working in the B2B space. 88% of B2B marketers use content marketing in their strategies, so pretty much everyone. And the majority are using more than 13 channels, which is a lot to handle, right? And they're doing that to build awareness, strengthen reputation, and grow business results. So this is all great. I think it's very apt to think about the metaphor of content as currency, because what happens when there's this much content happening, right? And this many channels, it starts to flood the market, right? And when that happens with currency, it becomes devalued. So our job was to think about, how can we go from the age of content proliferation to the new age that's happening right now, which is the age of content optimization and personalization, right? So our objective, or our mission, was to optimize content strategy not only based on engagement. So if you send me an email, it's not only do I open it, but later, am I going to buy, right? So subsequent business outcomes. And our findings was that engagement with content does indeed drive business results, but only when the right content is delivered through the right channel to the right audience. So we started by categorizing the data, and in that one sentence, there was like 3 or 4 weeks of work. So we had 3 big buckets, right? The first one are called brand actions, so content, right? Did you send an email from the brand? The second one is brand dialogue behaviors, engagement. So did the customer engage with that content? And the third and last, most important one, proxy outcome measures. So we looked at sales opportunities. So what we were really doing throughout the course of our project was playing Matchmaker, right? So we had to match up between accounts, so clients, channels, and topics. What were the right combination between those 3 things that led to subsequent increases in sales opportunities, right? So how can we find the right combination between these 3 things? There we go. Oh, it goes back, sorry. So behind playing Matchmaker, right, I think there's something very fundamental as IMCers that we found out. And that this meant a change from thinking about campaigns, right, from being very campaign-centric, which campaigns work, to being account-centric, right? So this is one of the principles of IMC, customer centricity, right? So which marketing activities and topics work for which accounts, right? Sounds good in theory. In the practice, there was thousands of accounts, right? So we weren't going to recommend to our client 1,000 different content strategies. So what did we do? We looked at patterns in the data to segment, and we came up with 7. And based on those patterns, we realized that one of the most interesting ways and best ways was to think on an industry level. So we grouped our clients' into different groups based on industry. There we go. And why? Because there were significant differences. If we look here on the left, I actually think I have a laser. If we look on the left, there's significant differences in engagement and buying behavior by industry. So those big dots are industries, and you see that they're pretty spread around the graph. And then, perhaps more importantly, on the right, we saw the industries engaged with different channels, right? So they have different preferences. You look at industry A, they engaged a lot with the website over here on the right, not so much with a webcast or an in-person event. Industry B really liked in-person events, webcasts, but not so much with the website, right? So we were seeing significant differences.
Thanks, Nick. And now we know that different industries engage differently on different topics and on different channels. But is there a relationship between this kind of engagement and our business outcome, which is sales opportunities? And does it vary by industries? So these are questions we hope to answer. So based on our data analysis, we did find that different topics have different effects on future sales opportunities. And that really depends on industry and marketing activities. So what do we mean by that? So if we take a look at this slide, take industry A as an example, we see their level of engagement on different topics, on different channels, on the horizontal axis. And we see the number of sales opportunities for the future on the vertical axis. So for example, for an event in media, technology, and telecommunication, an account that has very low engagement on this topic generates about 5 future sales opportunities, whereas a highly engaged account on this topic generates more than 10 sales opportunities, which means there's a positive relationship between engagement and future sales. And we have similar patterns for a webcast in health and life sciences topic. However, in the middle, we see that for an event in power, utilities, and sustainability, a highly engaged account doesn't necessarily generate more sales opportunities. Actually, it generates less sales opportunities, which means just because an account engages more on a topic doesn't mean that it's going to generate more sales. So that's very important insight. And we did the same thing for the other 6 industries, and we did find that there's like very different patterns across industries, which means industries also make a huge difference in terms of the relationship between engagement and sales. So with these insights in mind, we kept exploring and built this topic effective model. So we hope to answer this question: does engaging with a specific topic this quarter results in a significant change in next quarter's sales opportunities? So to build this model, we regressed next quarter's number of sales opportunities on this quarter's level of engagement on different topics. And we do it by industry. And we control by seasonality as well. And here's what we found: a scorecard. So here we have different channels and topics against industries, and these arrows just show the attendance effect on subsequent sales opportunities. And those green arrows show a highly significant positive effect. Yellow arrows show significant positive effect, and orange arrows show significant negative effect, and red arrows show highly significant negative effect, whereas gray ones show no effect. So this Scorecard really acts as a guideline for this professional service company to create B2B marketing content that is tailored to specific industries, which is essentially like this matchmaking game, connecting the right audiences to the right channels, to the right topics.
Great. So implications for the larger B2B marketing space, right? First, optimize based on business outcomes. There's a lot of focus on engagement. Engagement is great, but when you engage with the content, do you end up buying, right? Next, focus on customers, not campaigns, right? So instead of just thinking about, did my campaign work, take a customer-centric approach and say, hey, does this content strategy result in a greater business result for this particular client, right?
And obviously, lastly, as we just mentioned, creating this content scorecard for each specific segment. So by monitoring which combination of topic and channels are driving business sales for every segment, we can save our marketing costs and also improve our marketing effectiveness. So that's all for our presentation.
Right, and before we go, we learned so much. This was such a great opportunity for us as student fellows. There's people who are very smart working at the Spiegel Research Center, led by Tom Collinger and Ed Malthouse. And the great news is you can learn a lot too if you go to the website. And there's really great content on there about different things beyond just our project. There's a lot of amazing things to check out. So please do.
Please check it out. Thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.